What's up, guys? My name is Jesse and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a book review over Sam Walton Made in America. I'm going to try to keep it short and simple, so let's go ahead and dive in. Alright guys, so this is how I'm going to break it down. We're going to go ahead and start with the brief summary. I'm going to try to share with you, my summary of the book. We all know there's always a summary behind the book, but for my book reviews, I always try to give you my personal review over what actually inspired in the book. All right. Evaluation. So that's the part where I do a deep dive over the book, give you my insights and anything I got from the book, some of the personal connections I made, some lessons that I learned within the book. All right, and my recommendations, who would I recommend this book to, and of course my overall rating of the book. All right, so a quick disclaimer, I am going to spoil a few parts of the book, so if you want to read it first, go ahead and do so, but if you don't mind me spoiling the book, stick around in the video. So let's go ahead and start with the brief summary. All right, so the brief summary. All right, so first of all, Sam Walton was the CEO and of course the founder of Walmart and Sam's Club. So in the book, he takes you really behind the scenes of the rise of Walmart. Sam Walton was very passionate about the retail industry and was determined to create his own retail store that put the customers first. So in the book, Sam Walton mentions that his first job in retail was actually a JCPenney store, and he immediately fell in love with the retail business. He wanted to know everything about the retail industry, so he went on to read every book on retailing and went as far as scoping out the competition. So he went to different stores, not only within the state that he lived in at the time, but he actually scoped out all the competition around the world. So in the book, he mentions that he went to stores in Brazil, he went to stores in Europe, all and things of that nature, and of course around the US. So according to Sam, he didn't invent anything new. He simply focused on the areas where he could capitalize on and implement them into his business. So what actually set Walmart aside from the rest of the retail industry is that he mainly is focused on discounting items. So if you closely read the book, and of course the whole principle behind Walmart is all about discounting. All right, so he wanted to discount any items that people needed. He wanted to discount them. He believed that's what really drew the customers in if you had a good price in your store. A one-stop store, so not only for groceries but all essential items, furniture that people needed. He wanted to create a store that was just a one-stop shop for everyone. All right, of course he created his own distribution center, transportation, and of course later on a club membership. All right, so Sam created the most famous discount store in the world. There are about 10,500 Walmart stores worldwide, and they have been serving customers for the past 60 years. All right, so Sam Walton is known as the greatest entrepreneur of the 20th century. So before his death, he actually received what is known as the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President George Bush, which is known as the highest civilian award in the United States. So that is my brief summary over Sam Walton Made in America. All right, now the evaluation. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the quote, and then I'll break down my evaluation. So one of the quotes that I like what Sam Walton mentions in the book. So it goes like this. So you see what I mean when I say you have to think small to grow big. All right. So I like what he says there because anything we do, first we have to think small before we grow it big. All All right, so you have to think smart before you grow big. So that's what he mentions in the book. So Sam Walton did a decent job of providing details on the rise of Walmart. However, the sequence of events, or plot we should say, was kind of unclear, right? So as a reader, I would like for the writer to take us on a little journey into how their business was built, right? From the very beginning, dates, and actually building that anticipation to get us where exactly, what was that breakthrough moment. But that's just me, right? So, but what was very clear in the book, besides, the timeline not being clear, he does mention his early struggles in the retail industry, right? So before Walmart, Sam actually owned a couple of variety stores. One in particular was called Ben Franklin, which was a small store in the town of Arkansas. So Sam made it into the #1 store. So Sam made that store into a #1 store in town and did great on sales. So he drew customers in. It was the first time ever that this Ben Franklin was known in the town. One thing that he mentions in the book that he forgot to neglect in his lease agreement was that for him to extend the contract anytime he wanted, regardless of the sale that was making at the store, right? Which led the landlord, eventually the landlord knew that they were doing good on sales, so he decided not to renew the lease and instead keep the store for himself and give it to one of his sons. Of course, you could imagine how devastated Sam was, but he knew he had to move. He had to continue to move forward. All right, so on page 39, he said the following: "I had to pick myself up and get on with it, do it all over again, only better this time. Helen," which is his wife, "Helen and I started looking for a new town." So Sam's writing style was different from other bios that I've read. Now I think this is probably like my 4th or 5th bio. He included scripts from important people who helped build Walmart and other critics. So as you can see here in the corner, his writing style is unique because he incorporates people's perspective on not only him but also how he built Walmart. So for example, there is former Walmart store managers on there that he shares their perspective on him and the Walmart brand. Any CEOs from other companies, and of course his wife, his brothers, his children on there as well. So Sam mentioned that Walmart was not an overnight success. It took about 20 years. Can you imagine that? It took about 20 years for him to build Walmart what it is today. So Sam, in the book, he mentioned that he constantly innovated, experimented, and of course expanded. Sam describes how he hired his first store managers on page 45. "I needed somebody to run my new store and I didn't have much money. So I did something I would do for the rest of my run in the retail business without any shame or embarrassment whatsoever. I nose around other people's stores searching for good talent." All right, so again, he mentions that he didn't really invent anything new. If he needed to do something different, or if he wanted to get new ideas or recruit people into his business, he will go to other retail stores and not only recruit the people but also take notes on how they did things there. So the book left me with a feeling of sympathy. So Sam mentions as he's writing this book, he was actually diagnosed with cancer. All right, so if he didn't have cancer, this book wouldn't have existed and we wouldn't be here talking about Sam Walton today. So he mentions that he would have continued to find ways to improve Walmart because that's what he really enjoyed doing. Sam wasn't able to see the success of his book because he actually died before his book was published in 1993, and I think he died a year before. All right, so in the final chapter of the book, he mentions the following. So in quotation, so you can see here in the screen, I've wondered if I should feel bad about having been so wholly committed to Walmart. Was it really worth it? Was it really worth all the time spent away from family? So these are one of the connections I made in the book. It really got my my mind going. So as humans, so I thought to myself, as humans, do we prioritize the wrong things, or are we or are the sacrifices really worth it, right? So sometimes I sit and ask myself, am I prioritizing the wrong things, right? If what should I be spending time with family, spending more time with my fiance, spending time with my dog, whatever the case may be. I always think to myself, should I be doing that instead what I'm doing now, right? Or would the sacrifices be worth it? Who knows? As humans, that's the call that we have to make, the judgment call that we have to make, and really see what needs to be done in our lives, right? For Sam, he of course he spent time away from family. He was constantly going to other countries, not only expanding the business but also exploring what everybody else was doing in the industry business, in the retail industry. But this final quote that he mentioned, it seems like he has some kind of guilt, but who knows, guys, because he actually built generational wealth. But who knows if his kids would have rather had him at home. But yeah, that's just my opinion on that. Now, another question that comes into mind is, did the book fit my expectations, right? So as far as my expectations, I feel like Sam could have done a better job of piecing together the plot, right? As I mentioned before, it wasn't really clear. I really like to have the sequence of events. I like for us to, the writer to take us on a little journey and how they built that particular business. And what is a breakthrough moment, right? What was that one breakthrough moment that, okay, I have 1 or 2 sales. What is the next thing I have to do, right? And again, that's just my opinion, but I can't really be too harsh on Sam Walton, because on his final moments, he actually put all his time and energy into writing this book, right? He had cancer at the time, and instead of spending time with his family, and instead of really embracing the final moments he had, instead he chose to write the book, and let not only his grandchildren know, or his next family generation know, but us as well know how he actually built Walmart, and why Walmart is different, or what sets Walmart aside from the different competitions, right? So it tells you a lot about Sam and his work ethic, which it's very fascinating, very inspiring. So yeah, but guys, that's pretty much it for my evaluation. All right, so my recommendation. So I would recommend this book to any aspiring entrepreneur, anybody that wants to get into the retail industry, especially those that want make a meaningful impact in any industry. So if you just enjoy reading bios like I do, right? So the book is an excellent collection to read, especially if you're curious like I am, and curious to know how exactly and who the person that built Walmart. All right. So aside from that, I would like to rate this book an 8 out of 10. Again, going back to the reason I'm rating it an 8 out of 10 is, I wish Sam Walton would have made a clear sequence of events. But other than that, it's an excellent book. Sam was one of the greatest entrepreneurs and innovators of the 20th century. One thing that really stood out the most is that he wasn't really afraid of changes. especially adopting technology into the business, which of course during the 20th century was very uncertain during that time period. But he listened to the people around him. So if you read the book, you'll know exactly what people I'm talking about. His one of the CEOs that became a CEO right after he was, I believe his name was David Glass, and he was actually the one that actually pressured Sam Walton to adopt technology. All right, so, and of course, he was always an avid learner in the retail industry. So as I mentioned before, he read every book in that involved retailing, and of course, he was always going to different stores around the world, or even in the States, scoping out, learning what they were doing, writing everything down. So all right, guys, so a quick little story. So as I mentioned, he's an avid learner, and he loves to scope out the competition, whether it was in the States or other parts of the world. But in this in particular moment, this story I'm about to share was actually hilarious. So Sam Walton was actually caught snooping around in a store called Price Club Store, which allowed their members a membership to shop around. I think they had about warehouse items, but the point was it was only exclusive to members only, right? So what Sam did, he actually walked into the Price Club store with his notebook and tape recorder. He was taking notes on how they did things around the store, right? Not only in his notebook, but he was recording everything on his tape recorder. Of course, moments later, he actually got caught by an employee using his tape recorder. The employee already knew what he was doing. He knew that that Sam was pretty much scoping out the whole store and writing down the ideas. All right. So the employee confiscated Sam's tape recorder. And of course, immediately Sam admitted that, hey, I was, seeing how you did things around here. But if I could get that tape recorder back, I do have other important things. We could stay here and I could delete the recording that I recorded in the store. But I do need that tape recorder back. So the employee didn't listen to him. He confiscated it and gave it to his I believe it was the owner of the store or the store manager. I can't recall. So, it turns out that the store manager, really didn't mind. He was like, you know what? I know who Sam is. Let's go ahead and return back the tape recorder. So they did. All right. So that was just one of the stories. So what actually happened after that? The notes that Sam Walton took that day from the Price Club store actually inspired the creation of Sam's Club. Those of you that have a Sam's Club membership or even a Costco, that of course you buy a membership and you get to shop around any warehouse items, any items that come in bulk. Well, this is how it was created by the first store, Price Club Store. So again, guys, that was very, very hilarious to me. I kind of giggled that he was snooping around, but people at first in other stores, people didn't know what he was doing. They just thought he was a crazy guy with a tape recorder and taking notes. But they later found out that in the club store, in the Price Club store, he was actually taking notes on what they were doing. Also, another thing that set aside Sam Walton and the Walmart industry is that Sam actually allowed his associates, store managers, to be very creative and come up with new ideas for Walmart. So one example is that Sam actually walked into a Walmart, I believe it was in Texas. I want to say Dallas, but I'll put it in the captions. So he walked into one of the Walmarts in Texas and noticed that there wasn't a Walmart associate right there in the front entrance of the door. So as soon as you walk in, there was an employee standing there. So he approached the store manager and of course asked what's going on, why is there an associate in front of the door entrance. And then basically the store manager explained that our store, which is the store in Texas, had experienced customers taking items. There were thieves taking items. We're over short in our inventory, etc., etc., etc. Right? So the store manager came up with the idea to place a Walmart associate right at the front of the door, not only to monitor, any items that were being taken, but also to greet the customers as they were coming in. So Sam was like, you know what, that's actually a very great idea. He was very impressed. So he actually, after he left that store, he actually encouraged every Walmart to do the same, to place an associate right in front of the door, not only to greet a customer with a smile. Well, we all know sometimes, because those of you that walk into Walmart, we know that sometimes the employee just standing there and they seem like they don't want to be there. But so he wanted to place somebody. He encouraged everybody to place an associate there, of course, for them to greet them as they're coming in, but also to monitor that they're not taking any items. All right. So, but yeah, guys. So after that, and then of course, the one last thing, he always listened to the customers, or whatever the customers wanted, or whatever any complaints they had. He always put the customer first. But overall, guys, I really hope to achieve the same work ethic as Sam Walton. That pretty much concludes my evaluations, my recommendation, and that's pretty much it, guys. Things that I took away. I already shared in evaluations. My next book, my next bio that I'm reading already. It's called Elon. So it's a bio over Elon Musk. It's called Elon Musk by I want to say Walter Isaacson. The book is very thick, so I'll place a picture here so you can see it. That would be my next evaluation that I'm going to be doing after I finish the book. But of course, it's going to take me a while, because I'm literally, those of you that are reading the Elon Musk book, it's very thick. But aside from that, guys, that is it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Comment in the section below. Let me know what you think. Those of you that have read the book, I want to get y'all insights of what y'all thought about the book. But other than that, guys, that is it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.